They said he was born with glass in his veins. Not the fragile kind, but the kind that gleamed cold, clear, and unbreakable. Adrian Vale came into the world on a night when fireworks painted the sky above New York Harbor. The whole city shimmered in celebration, but not for his birth. That same night, his father, Nathan Vale, sealed the biggest corporate merger in American history. While the crowd cheered for business, a small cry echoed through a penthouse window high above them, the first sound from a boy who would one day inherit it all. Nathan raised his glass of champagne, not to the child, but to the stock price. "The boy will never want for anything," he said. And he was right, except for the things that truly mattered. Adrian grew up surrounded by steel, marble, and silence. His home was more a museum than a house, walls of glass that showed the skyline but hid the family inside. His mother, delicate and distant, spent her days hosting charity galas. His father ruled from boardrooms, surrounded by men in sharp suits and colder smiles. Tutors came before toys. Lessons came before laughter. And every morning, before breakfast, the boy was made to repeat the Vale family motto, etched in gold on the marble wall of their Manhattan tower. Control is survival. When other children learned how to dream, Adrian learned how to win. By 12, he could read balance sheets. By 17, he spoke 5 languages and could predict stock movements better than some of his father's advisors. He was brilliant and utterly alone. Because power, in the Vale family, left no room for love. As he grew, the city seemed to grow smaller around him. He stood at boardroom tables, where men twice his age nodded at his words. He traveled in private jets, stayed in silent hotels, and ate dinners where every smile was an investment. By 25, Adrian Vale had become the youngest executive in the empire's history. He moved to Geneva, a city made of mirrors, lakes reflecting towers, towers reflecting skis. He worked from an office where every surface shone like ice. His assistants whispered about his brilliance, his calm, his discipline. They never mentioned his loneliness. No one dared to. He lived the life his father had built for him, the perfect machine, the perfect heir, the perfect ghost. One evening, while inspecting the old family archives, Adrian came across something curious. A document, yellowed, sealed with the Vale crest, written by the family's first patriarch over a century ago. It said, "The heir who loves shall lose the empire." He read it twice, then laughed softly to himself. A curse, perhaps, or just another reminder that emotion was a weakness. Still, the words stayed with him, like a faint echo he couldn't quite ignore. Weeks later, his quiet, ordered life began to change. It started the day Lyra D'Souza walked into his boardroom. She wasn't like the others, no expensive suit, no nervous smile, just confidence, quiet and steady. A systems architect from Mumbai, she had been hired to audit the ethical algorithms behind Vale Industries, AI models. She spoke with calm authority, her voice clear as glass. When Adrian presented his plan, a new system to predict consumer behavior, Lyra looked at the screen, then at him, and said, "Your algorithms optimize profit, Mr. Vale, not people. You call it innovation, I call it erasure." The room went still. No one had ever spoken to him like that. Adrian felt something strange stir inside him, not anger, not pride, something else, something he hadn't felt in years. Interest. He tried to dismiss her, but her words stayed. Later that night, standing by his window overlooking Lake Geneva, he caught himself thinking about her, her calm defiance, her courage. She had looked straight through him, not at his name, not at his wealth, at him. And for the first time in his life, Adrian Vale felt seen. Over the next few weeks, he found excuses to visit her lab. He told himself it was work, checking progress, reviewing data. But the truth was simpler. He wanted to hear her voice again. They argued. They challenged each other. But beneath the sharp words was something gentler, a curiosity that grew into something deeper. Lyra was everything his world was. Where his life was polished, hers was real. Where he chased control, she sought truth. And slowly, she began to crack the glass walls he had spent years building around himself. They started walking together after meetings, along the quiet paths beside the lake, where the mountains looked like folded paper against the sky. Sometimes they didn't talk at all. Sometimes silence said more than words could. Lyra told him about her childhood in India, how she'd grown up surrounded by noise and color and chaos, yet had always found beauty in it. Adrian listened, like a starving man hearing music for the first time. For the first time, he began to imagine something more than power, a life that felt alive. But not everyone was blind to his change. Adrian's cousin, Adrian Vale, watched from the shadows. Adrian had always wanted the empire. He was clever, charming, and cruel in quiet ways. He saw Adrian's affection as a weakness, the crack in the glass he'd been waiting for. And while Adrian was falling in love, Adrian was making plans. Adrian didn't know it then, but the same woman who made him feel human again would soon become the reason his empire fell apart. That night, as he watched the lights of Geneva ripple on the lake, Adrian felt something unfamiliar: peace. He didn't know what it was called yet, that feeling blooming in his chest, that warmth breaking through years of ice. But he knew one thing. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about profits, mergers, or power. He was thinking about her. And somewhere in the family archives, that old line waited quietly, almost whispering. The heir who loves shall lose the empire. He had built an empire from glass, but now he was beginning to see the first fracture, and it was shaped like her.